Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and we're back here today with another challenge video. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, so let's get on with the crafts. Let's go. Here we go with DIY number 1. All right, here we are at the craft desk. I got gifted a lot of fall stuff last year, and this was in that fall stuff that I got that somebody gave to me. And I am going to take some Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now, a lot of these pumpkins said trick or treat or something like that, and so I'm going to redecorate this pumpkin to be what I want it to. So I'm going to take some of that Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, put it on here, and then we're going to let it dry. Now, while that's drying, we went and got a drawer pull or doorknob, or not. That's not a doorknob. What am I talking about? It's a handle of some sort that went on, I would say, a dresser or something. And I painted it with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, a very rough coat, to touch up any of the messy spots that I didn't like. Now what I'm doing is I'm going back over it with the Antiquing Wax by Waverly, and then I'm going to wipe it back. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this stem from this pumpkin. Now, I'm going to save that. I'm not going to use it in this project, but I am going to save it. Now, this is some of that bed skirt that I cut up to make the valances for our booth. And I am going to take this piece and I cut it down into strips and wrapped a lot of it up on some little cardboard things. That's what you saw there. And I am going to take, this is about a 2-inch strip, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to glue this down onto this, and I'm going to crisscross over the bottom of the pumpkin. Then I'm going to flip it over and stick it into the top, and see, then I cut it off and I'm going to stuff it down in there. Now, I'm not worried about the strings. Now, you really want to make sure that gets down in there good so that it doesn't come off. And that trick or treat, you noticed I didn't cover it up really well because I knew I was putting some stuff over the top of this. So I'm just going to go like in an X pattern, and then I'll keep doing this repeatedly until I get the pumpkin completely covered with this muslin fabric. And then when I get this completely done, I am going to take that little handle, flip this over on the bottom, and the bottom is now going to become my top. And I'm going to just put some hot glue on this and stick it down on there, because that's all you need for this little pumpkin, because it's just going to be a decoration. And now for the bottom, where I finish that off, I'm going to drop hot glue down in there, and then I'm going to take some twine and I'm going to poke this down into there to make the little decorative bottom of a pumpkin. You know, when it's in a pumpkin patch and you pull it out, it has that little piece in the bottom of it that looks like where it could have been the top. So I'm going to, after I measured it out, then I went back in there and wound it back up, or put more hot glue in there, and then started winding it down into there. And I'm going to use that little spatula to help push it down in with the hot glue, because that hot glue is hot. Trust me. My fingers are kind of tender today. Anyway, and you're just going to keep pushing that down into the hot glue until it's stuck. Now that we have our bottom like we want it, I'm showing you right here that this little pumpkin was dented in on one side, so we're going to make that the front of our pumpkin, because we can cover it up with these leaves and you won't even notice this. Now, this came off of some of the fall decorations that was gifted along with these pumpkins, and I just took out 2 of the real pretty leaves, and I am going to take them, hot glue them on there. Then once I get that done, then I am going to take this little piece of muslin that was left over, and I am going to tear it down in strips. Now, I was going to leave that together, but I accidentally tore it, but that's okay. We're going to take and tie this in a little knot, and these are going to be like little streamers off the edge of our pumpkin, and I'm just going to tie it in like a little bow. Kind of looks like a bow. Anyway, and we're going to glue that in place right on the front of our little pumpkin. And I was cutting off extra strings, not cutting them any shorter, because I want them to be really pretty and embellish this. And then we're going to add that little piece that you see in my hand. And we're going to add some of those pick berries to this. And we will see the rest of this one at the final reveal. Now today's video is the Falls DIY Open Playlist. And it happens on the 1st of the month, every month. If you're interested, contact one of these ladies and they'll add you to the chat on Instagram. And then it is hosted by Crafty Hints. It's also co-hosted by Rustic Lace DIY and also co-hosted by 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. Now there's a playlist and the link to these ladies' channels in the description box below. Go check them out because they're doing some awesome crafts and you sure don't want to miss it. Alright, here we go with DIY number 2. Now for this next one, I took this little glass pumpkin stand that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take one of these hydro transfers by Redesign. Now normally I don't buy these, but this one had a lot in the pack, so I decided I was going to go ahead and do it. So the first thing you need to do is wipe that off and make sure that it's free and clear of dust. Now if you notice, one side of your transfer has that black on it and the other side has the colored side. Now what you want to do is you want to take and put this down with the colored side down, but you first want to peel that little plastic sheeting off. Now this is my first time doing these, so now that we've got this completely cleaned and I wet my rag just a little bit, then you're going to take and dip it in some water and you're going to slowly start putting this on there until you see that transfer starting to come off of there. Now don't make the mistake like I just did and slide that, because that messes it up. And this is my first time doing this, so I'm like, oh my goodness, I messed it up. And see, I didn't get it all the way down, so I'm going to take my little thing and I'm trying to straighten it out, but there was no saving this. So when you do it, don't slide that piece off. You've got to lift it completely up. Now I'm going to show you. That's what I'm showing you there. Now you see where I did it on the other side and missed the A? That's because I tried to wipe it like I'm doing there, but don't do that. Just stop. Get it on there the best you can and stop. Because I sure made a mess of this one. Now that little bitty word that I had, I cut off. And I was like, okay, well, since I'm practicing on this, I'm going to do this again. I wet my little glass piece, turn the colored side down, and then I'm going to take and push the design on there with a wet rag, give it a few seconds, and then peel it up. And you guys, this is when you see your I don't know how to tell you, but when you see something then you start lifting up. And if it gets stuck, just take your little wet rag. You're supposed to use an applicator, but this one didn't come with an applicator and I couldn't find one. All right, here we go to DIY number 3. For this DIY, I found this calendar page and I got out my little tin pan. And what I'm doing here, and I'm sorry you guys, I didn't back that camera up far enough for this one, but I'm going to take my pencil and trace around with what I have in the picture that I want to show with a pencil, and then I'm going to cut it out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Mod Podge down on the inside of that, and I got this brand new container of Mod Podge. Now I'm going to show you a trick, and this is not the trick right here, because I make a mess of this trying to get up all the little stuff off the sides, and I get it on my mat, I get it on my finger, I get it everywhere. Oh man. Anyway, the trick is that you're going to take and clean your fingers off like I am now. Okay, now you want to have a clean container. Now we're going to get this. Hold on just a second. Here it comes. What am I doing? I'm taking so long. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're going to take some petroleum jelly, and what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way around your lid of your Mod Podge. And the reason why you're going to do this is you ever go back to open your Mod Podge and it's stuck now it won't stick with that on there. So you need to put a generous coat around the edge. It won't affect your Mod Podge at all. Somebody showed me that trick, and I am so blessed. Because now my Mod Podge lid doesn't get stuck on there, and I can't get it open. Now it will open freely every time. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a generous coat of Mod Podge down on my pan and smoothing it out, making sure I don't have too much in one area, and so that I can put this picture in here. And then I'm going to place the picture in there and press it into place. Now, once I get that in place like I want it, then what I'm doing here is I am going to add rope around my little handle. So I made a knot, and then I'm going to go over that little tab that's hanging over and just keep wrapping all the way around the handle until I've completely gone around the handle all the way around to the other side. Not the other side over there, but the other side of this handle that I'm working on. Boy, could I make that any more complicated. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue as I go along, and then we'll move to the next step. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put a little dab of hot glue after I've tied that off, and I'm going to hold it in place, and then I will snip this off. Now, I tied that knot before I did that so that it would not come undone. And then the next thing I do is I add a little bit of this DAP rapid fuse glue to keep the knots from coming undone as people use this little tray. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in now and burn all the little fuzzies off. Now that piece right there is not where I missed. It's a piece, that's just the color of it. I don't know why it was that way, but it was. But anyway, I'm going to burn all the little fuzzies off, and then we'll do the next step. Now at this point, I've still not done the Mod Podge, but I took out a piece of drop cloth, and I'm going to trace out the bottom of my pan. Now, I am not going to cut this exactly as a circle. I'm going to cut it bigger because of the way that I'm going to use this, and I'll show you that in just a second. I've cut that about an inch bigger than my pan, and now what I'm doing is I'm taking some of this double-sided tape and I'm going all the way around the lip of the bottom of this little pan. And the reason why I'm doing this, you don't have to do this, I'm doing it because it just makes it easier to put all of this together. And the next thing I did is I made sure that was pressed down like it should be, and then I went back and I'm going to peel the do that. Peel the tape thing off. Yeah, something like that. I don't know what to call it. Now, this is going to have like a gathered look on the bottom of it, and that's the reason why I went ahead and put this on there to help me. Now, we're going to go back and hot glue this in place, but I just wanted this little pan to be a little bit more rustic, and it's going to have like a little ruffled edge on it. So the next thing I'm going to do is come in with my hot glue, pull back just a little bit where that tape's holding it, and this way I can check it before I actually hot glue everything, that I have it where I want it. Then the next thing I did is I went and took a bead of hot glue and went all the way around with a piece of twine twice around the bottom of this pan. Then after I finished that, I trimmed that off. Now I put it on one of my Lazy Susans that I messed up when I was doing one of my projects. And at the end of that, I'm going to add some of that DAP glue. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little pair of tweezers, and I'm going to go through here, and I want this piece of drop cloth to have a frayed edge, so I'm going to go all the way around this doing this, and we will see this one at the final reveal. Now at this time, we'd like to thank our subscribers. We love you bunches. We appreciate everything you do for this channel, all the liking, the sharing, and the big thumbs up, and having conversations with us through the comments. we really enjoy all of that, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We wouldn't be a channel if it wasn't for y'all watching. And so we just want to give you a big thanks. Here we go with the final reveal and all the embellishments. Now, we opened a booth over at the Avonlea Mall, and it's called the Chic Shack. Y'all come visit us because we have a bunch of awesome things. Now, this is, if you ever want to know what's going on with our channel, go over to our community tab page on YouTube, on our channel, and you'll see what's going on for that week of videos. And if there's something special happening or something else going on, we will let you know here. You guys, thanks for watching. We love you guys bunches.
Awesome. So you guys, if you like this content, subscribe. Hit that notification bell and give us that big thumbs up because it really helps our channel out. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We'll see you later. Bye.